Yeah, pretty right on.
Cool.
Okay. Just to double check, we are recording. Hey, welcome to a hard earned racecast. I got Chaz here from Specialized Muscle Milk, Cycle Sport, Fruit Bar, whatever it is. The longest name ever. So, okay, we fully recorded the racecast. Recorded the whole thing, chatted about it for an hour. It was the best racecast ever. Hit done, did the yut, realized I had never hit record, and Chaz even like asked me like, "Hey, bro, you sure you did that?" So,
Racecast take 2, right?
Yeah, it's take 2 on this.
For us, at least.
Yeah. So, take 2 for us. And we also tried to live stream this. Just probably spent about an hour trying to live stream it. Anyways, look, we're at Wattsonville. Super technical course. Lots of turns, dips. A lot of like slow down, speed up, slow down, speed up. So we've got 2 cameras. We got Chaz and we have myself. Garmin Verb is the glitchiest program on the planet. So I switched Chaz's color to red. I actually tried to do pink. I thought that would be funny, but it made it green. So it's a little hard to distinguish between who's who. But obviously you can see my hands on the bars, his camera's down below. If you watch the vlog on this, they moved the race time up because of the women's race. So Chaz, when you got there and they told you it starts now 20 minutes earlier,
yeah.
What are your thoughts?
I showed up early, like 4:05. Race starts at 4:50. Check in. Race starts at 4:35. What? That was my reaction. I said, "Are you serious?" And they're like, "No women showed up." It's like, great. Now I get to rush myself. So,
and which is a bummer because you really need a warm up for this course, wouldn't you say? I mean, like if there was any course that you were going to need a warm up for.
Yeah. No, my warm up was 13 minutes. Pretty pitiful.
Yeah, I didn't even have that. I think I rode around the course twice. Did no efforts. I was riding with my son.
Well, you want to know the crazy thing is the race didn't start until like 4:45, 5 minutes before 4:50.
So even though they told us.
Yeah, they told us everyone lined up at 4:35, ready to go, and they didn't blow us for another 10 minutes. So
that's so funny.
In their defense, it is Velo promo. So
yeah.
they don't want those either.
Yeah. So anyway, I've raced this course a couple times. I really like it. Chaz has raced it before. What ends up happening is you get. Watch my screen. I hit max watts here. Boom, because I'm a beast. So the thing is, their squadra has 6 or 7 guys. Low has 2 guys, and then the rest are just individual teams. But there is the U23 cyclocross champion racing with us. Lance hit it, and he hit it hard. I mean, he was fast, and he
was aggressive.
And so Bobby goes on my screen ripping. Bobby probably almost, I would say, did the most work, right? He did a lot of attacks.
He had a solid race.
He closed down a ton of moves, which is a bummer because he didn't really have much to show for all that energy spent, which is what it is, you know what I mean? But this course is like guaranteed there's going to be a break, especially with the fact that Squadra has 6 guys. They will ensure that there's a break. So Chaz, when do you start to like get nervous? Like, okay, it's about to happen.
When I'm on the rivet. I don't know. I mean, like when I'm comfortable and I know it's about to happen, I'm not really sweating it. But yeah, as soon as I'm trying to recover and I can tell that this pack's already to blow apart any second, I really need to be in that move, I super get nervous.
But you just went off. You attacked. Why?
Because, dude, honestly, they blew a whistle and Bobby attacked on the first hill. So we've been attack nonstop. We had a little bit of a lull, so I attacked. Thought for sure someone would try to bridge. I mean, I'm obviously doing, 27 through that corner, and you guys are doing 25 through that corner. You know, I mean, I'm on it. I'm definitely trying to get away, hoping someone's gonna bridge.
But the thing is, you've got like no way you're gonna make it right by yourself. So what is, because you've got 6 squadra guys, you know, and so now right here guys are starting to try to jump that gap. But I mean, you have a pretty strong team just in the pack, not up with you. So then, like, how hard are you going? Like, obviously your watts are going hard.
Yeah, I mean, so I did the initial gap. I looked back, I saw I had a good gap, and I figured, all right, well, I'll just hang out here and try to keep that going until someone bridged. No one was bridging, but I still had a solid gap, so I decided to keep just railing it. And then eventually, you guys finally caught back up, and no one tried to bridge across. So it was probably a bad move on my part.
Well, I mean, right here I'm doing 700 and something watts. I mean, it's not that it was necessarily a bad move. It's just everyone was trying to jump that gap, and
I mean, yeah, I got a whole 2 corners on you guys already. You guys are just now coming through the straightaway. You can finally see me, and I'm getting ready to turn back onto the finish straight.
Well, Bobby went, but I mean, again, that's kind of like a doomed breakaway, is to have 2 guys off the front that don't have any teammates. Like, you have so many people in the group that are willing to chase you down. And I mean, often it's breakaways aren't like just guys on the front are so much stronger than everyone and they ride away from everyone that's chasing. It's very rare that you've got a group that's full-blown chase mode and the break is gonna stick. You know what I mean? So you kind of need a moment of where guys aren't chasing you to get that gap, and you've got just so many people in this pack willing to chase you. So are you watching your heart rate at all during this to like try to make sure you don't go in too far in the red?
No.
No,
I don't like to look at that when I'm doing these efforts, because I knew it was hard. I knew it hurt. At this point, I realized you guys are going to catch me, so I was just trying to hang on a little bit to see if maybe someone could jump across. Because when I looked back, I mean, obviously on your screen, you guys are really strung out, like massive gaps opening up on your screen. I mean, you got 5 guys in front of you, but you guys are almost strung out for that whole length of that block right there.
Well, and that's the thing, is someone might watch this and go, well, you're on a guy's wheel, so maybe you're not working as hard, but like clearly you can see the watts. The thing is that there's all these turns, you know, if you mess up the turn a little bit, if you don't power through it right, you know, little gaps will open up, and then you're just having to you know, get across that little gap. And so it's like going down to 21 all the way back up to 30 every turn, right, all the time. So now, I know we already talked about this last time we filmed this, but those guys just counterattacked you. You were on the front, you're off the front, and then now you almost just set up a breakaway without you in it.
Yeah.
So like, what is that feeling when, and then it happens, like everyone keeps leapfrogging you and gaps keep opening, right? And you can't cover it because you're redlined, right?
Right. Then I saw your wheel and I jumped on it.
Yeah, and I think I covered this pretty well.
I did feel bad in this one. I remember feeling bad because, man, that's a huge gap and you got to close it, and I can't help because I'm exhausted. So I felt a little bad. I'm pretty sure you even look on your shoulder like, what the heck, bro?
Yeah. Well, I was trying to see how many people are behind me, as if I should burn a major match to cover that gap. Because like, if we had a gap, if there was guys trailed off, like I would have railed it to make it on. You know what I mean? But so many people behind me. There's the low guys didn't make the move. There's more squadra guys. There's the, you know, Mike Spikes guys. So like, I know that's probably not gonna work. Dude, this race was just, you know, we sat here and we watched it for an hour as we recorded Into the Abyss, and it was it was just really insane to see how much attacking goes on. Now eventually a breakaway goes, Chaz is in it with Lance, James, what's the low guy's name?
Oh shoot, I don't even know what his name is. I don't ever see him at races.
I've seen him a couple times.
I've never seen him before.
But it was crazy how much you guys worked to make that breakaway, and it makes me feel way better. Now on my screen, dude, I was just letting the gaps open up going into that turn as responsibilities stack up in my mind, and I've already made a bunch of jokes and stuff, so I'm gonna like repeat my jokes. I'm sorry, Chaz, but I gotta put them onto YouTube, right? So like as I have oxygen in my brain and I'm going into a turn, I'm thinking like, okay, I have website projects, I have, you know, new business projects, I've got a family, I've got a newborn baby, I've got all these things I'm thinking about, and I'm visualizing how much it would suck to slide my face across the pavement. So I'm a little like hesitant in the turns. But as the oxygen is depleted from my brain, those responsibilities exponentially go away, right? Every time you hit a turn, it's like one less responsibility you're thinking about. And so as the race goes on, I get way better through the turns, but it's just one of those things, like I overthink it, I get scared, and I don't do it. But eventually, you either have to take the risks, or you have to be so strong that you can keep surging. And at a certain point, 30 minutes in, it's like, I'll take those risks because I don't want to do anything.
Yeah. I mean, another hard part was every time you came out of these technical corners, like we're gonna make this technical hard right, it's straight no headwind. We make that next left and it's like a crosswind. Then we make another right, and then we're back into a headwind. So I mean, that was the other problem too. Is if you hesitated for 1 second and let a gap open up out of these corners, you immediately were into a headwind.
Right, and so then
so you gotta do twice the work to cover such a minimal gap.
Well, any sort of like crosswinds or anything, you're not really. You have to follow the race line, right? There's an apex to these turns that you need to hit, or else you're gonna get popped, right?
Yeah.
And so it's one of those things of like, okay, I can't really take the optimal arrow line because I have to take the optimal apex line, you know. And so sometimes you're kind of left out there. But what do you think about this course in its raceability? How it always goes to a break. I mean, I think I've been to this race 4 times, but I think I know in the last like 6 years it's come down to a break. So when you know that course information of like, okay, 99% this is going to come down to a break, or just a very dwindled peloton, which essentially would be a break anyway. You know, what are your thoughts?
Just stay at the front. I mean, quite honestly, I mean, like you said, we started, there's Squadra had 5 guys, everyone else was for themselves. That A Velo kid was national cyclocross champ. So, I mean, I was really trying to stay at the front. Obviously, I'm not at the front now, but I burned some matches early on, which put me in the red and put me more towards the back. But as soon as I get back up towards the front, you know, luckily I'm up there when the break goes.
Huh.
But yeah, no, this course always goes to a break. Me and you, when we were on the same team, we got in a breakaway on this course. Remember that?
Yeah.
That was fun.
Well, yeah. Well, I guess maybe not, because at one time when Integrity, I helped lead out Tony, right?
Yeah, and there's another time where me and you got in a break. I think it was like the year before that or something. But it was no, it's definitely been in a break. I mean, I've been in a breakaway quite a few times at this course. I think I've been on the podium quite a few times at this course.
Brag. Hashtag brag much. So
well, only when it's a break.
The thing is that the course just, you know, there's this thing about like 1-to-1. You know, a lot of the really good riders, when they apply power, you have to basically equal their amount of power. A lot of times, like flat, flowy crit courses, you know, the guy on the front is doing 50% more than you, if not more than that. And so you can have maybe relatively not great fitness, just a good sprint and kind of sit in and not waste any energy. But there's no way you can do that on this course. 1, because of that little riser, and 2, the really tight turn that goes through that dip. I mean, you have to go down to 20 miles an hour and then accelerate out. And so that those accelerations, even if you're on someone's wheel, when someone's accelerating, you know, it's it's not like you're getting a huge draft bonus. So it's difficult, and
they're just little jabs that you wish didn't happen, because later in the race, your legs are just gone. It makes it that much harder to cover those.
Right. So are you like counting your matches at all? I know for me, I just saw red pretty much this whole time. It was very hard for me to even focus on what was going on. I was just looking at the person's wheel in front of me. But is there ever a moment where you're like, okay, I've burned 3 or 4 matches, and that's like in your back of your mind thinking, okay, I probably can't respond to this next move.
Yeah, when I did that solo effort, I don't know, the first 5 minutes, that one hurt. So I literally just trying to sit in, relax, trying to get my heart rate down, which it was at like 190. Now it's down to 180. I mean, that was my goal.
Yeah.
Luckily, in the beginning of this race, everyone's so fresh that even if something does go off the front, you don't have to worry too much about it, because there's enough guys that are still mentally and physically fresh where they're willing to chase it down.
Now, so I think we talked about this, but Squadra has 6 guys. It's a small field. It's like, I think we started with 16. So they have overwhelmingly, like in your screen right now, you see 3 of them. So they got options, man. They can send guys off the front and not chase their own guys. They can have a few like guys like you go up the road by themselves and not panic, because like of course they will work together to bring that back. You know, if a breakaway goes and they're in it, they don't necessarily have to work as hard because they have guys back in the pack. Like, they just have so many options. And that's what's so neat when you have a team, is all these different like weapons you have at your disposal, versus when you're not on a team, you're just you know, you've got one weapon, which is your fitness. Well, I guess 2, your fitness, and then how well you race. You know what I mean? So why didn't you have any? Because you have a strong team. So why did you not have anyone here?
Well, we've been racing the Premier Series schedule, which is literally some of the freaking hardest races on the schedule. So it's kind of mid-season, so a lot of the guys are they decided to chill this weekend, take it off. I mean, 4 of us did the Davis crit on 4th of July, which was the Tuesday before this, which was a Saturday. So, I mean, we all kind of did that, and then they decided to take the weekend off, and I love this race. I mean, we've raced it almost every year, so I see it on the schedule. I know it's always going to be a small field, and it's always going to be really hard, but it's always a good opportunity for a good result, so that's why I came out.
I love that the guy that won this race called his race afternoon ride. Like, it meant so little to him that he didn't even put a title for his
just uploaded it as afternoon ride.
Just whatever, dude. Well, that's weird.
Just click on the analyze button.
You know what I mean?
Yeah.
Yeah, he must have been saying normalized power then, right?
Yeah, click on the analyze button really quick, or laps.
So we're looking at Strava, and we're looking at Lance Hiddett's ride, because Lance said that he did 303 watts average for the hour, which would have put him well in 5 watts per kilo for the whole race. But when I'm looking at his Strava, it says his average power was 242 watts. The frustrating thing is he weighs 130 something pounds, and he maxed watts more than I did. Well, but so look, he must have. Look how.
But yeah, click on laps. See if you lapped it. No, click on analyze.
Huh? Because on his Strava it says 242, but let's cut down his.
Power 268.
268. Huh. That must have been normalized power.
My normalized power was like 296, I want to say.
Uh-huh. So Lance hit it. He looks like he did 268 average. Like actual power versus for normalized. So what's going on? Let's go back to the race. There's a guy up the road you're chasing, and I'm just on the back, hoping that you guys all bring that stuff back together. And because who's in front of you right now?
I don't know. I think that Lance kid is up off the front.
So Bobby goes. Okay, so this is where Bobby really drilled it. So Lance is up the road. Lance hit it, the U23 cyclocross champion. Bobby is Bobby. I feel like Bobby has the right like physique for this course. Like he's light. He's got good bike handling skills. He's a pretty good sprinter. So it really probably suits him. And so he's trying to do well. I think we're all trying to do well, but like, and so right here, those guys jumped off, and then you stick Bobby on the front. Like, sorry, dude, I'm not gonna pull through. And it kind of, what happened to you happened to him. You know what I mean? He's like makes his big dig to try to bring back the move.
And in my defense, I'm redlining with my heart rate at like 190. So maybe he went. Yeah, I mean, I just couldn't come around him right now, so I just sat on his wheel.
So that's kind of, it's hard, and now you're getting gapped. And so, like, I feel like Bobby's thinking, dude, this is it. If I can make it up to those three guys, which there's a Squadra, there's a Low, and there's Lance. You know what I mean? Like, that easily could be the break right there. And you're getting gapped. And so if someone doesn't come around you, which I'm behind you, there's a Squadra guy that this is like, why is that Squadra guy chasing?
He shouldn't have chased his own guy. It was a terrible move by him.
Now, like, of course, obviously, Squadra got two guys in the break and got second to a cyclocross national champion. So you can't really say too much, you know what I mean? But it just seems like sometimes there's, you play the game and sometimes you don't play the game. And so sometimes, like, guys where, I don't know, maybe they're not playing cycling per se and they're doing what a big team should do, because you get into a habit of like knowing what a big team will do and what they won't do. And we talked about this before, sometimes you're like dependent on that, or you're expecting it, right? You're saying, okay, I know what they're going to do. They're going to let this move go. And so then you might do something based on that, but then they don't do that. So then it gets kind of weird. But I think that they wanted, they had so many guys in the group that they wanted to ensure the best chance of a win, and getting two guys in a breakaway. I mean, that's not a crazy thought when you have almost half the field, right? I mean, they had a third of the field.
No, I mean, they definitely needed two guys in the break. There shouldn't have been any reason why they couldn't do that.
Right. And so coming into this race, what was like your workout the day before? What did you do the day before this race?
Nothing.
Zero.
Yeah. I mean, like I said, I raced on Tuesday. Wednesday was like a 2-hour endurance ride. I was supposed to do a recovery ride on Thursday, but I was going up the lake all day, so I didn't ride. I was supposed to do openers on Friday, and I was just super tired, so I didn't. And then I actually jumped on Zwift the morning of this race, because this race was at like 5 in the afternoon. So I Zwifted at like 10 in the morning for literally 30 minutes, and I did like 2 little 30-second sprints. And then we drove 3 hours to this race, and my legs felt really good. It worked out. So
this is kind of where the break starts to establish. Everyone swung to the left, or a couple guys swung to the left, you went with it. And then it's like you, Lance, this guy in front of you, I think James, the guy from Low, all of you are like at the front hammering every time over that little riser. And it's just like for the next 3 laps, like here he goes, the next 3 laps, you guys are drilling it so hard that it makes pretty much anyone else like able to respond. Like I responded to, I don't know, 12 moves. It's like, how many moves can you respond to before you're just like, I literally cannot do one more.
That's how I was getting. I was getting to the point where it's like, how am I going to do this? I don't have the gas to keep doing this every lap.
Yeah, it was. I mean, there was, other than the little spot where you crest the hill, and go down into that tight turn.
Even then, guys were pinning that.
Yeah.
Sometimes, and that was hard.
But that was the kind of, you could maybe stop pedaling for a little bit. So then, right here on my screen, it's blown apart, dude. There's huge gaps between everyone. The guy in like the purple, he's got like no team, and dude, he was really strong. And he covered a lot of moves that, like, if it wasn't for him, probably would have went. And I think this whole lap he's like chases, because there's 4, and then there's 2, and then there's 3, and then there's like 2. It's just so blown apart. And so right now you're up the road. Are you thinking this is it?
I'm just wanting to stay up here. Yeah, I mean, I saw us blown apart. I knew it was a matter of time, so my goal was to just hang on and stay at the front until, it finally snapped and it worked for us.
So when Lance, the U23 cyclocross champion, flicks his elbow at you and says, "Take a pull," what are your thoughts? Like, psych?
Yeah, I mean, well, when we went through that corner, I looked back and saw where everyone was, so then I took a little bit of a harder pull, and then I'm pretty sure I tried to get off the front right here.
Because this is about to split the field, right? And I'm sitting on this guy's wheel, and I'm thinking, okay, he looks strong right now. He looks motivated. I'm gonna let him dig himself as much as he can, And you're kind of like gauging, right, on how fast is this guy closing down the group, and at the point where it's no longer closing it down, you know what I mean? Then you need to try to make that jump. Those 3 guys, and this is what's so crazy, is you and those 3 guys make the break. And it's like, again, so you go super hard, and then very next lap, everyone's on the rivet, and they attack again. And now you're kind of dangling, because if you don't cover this...
That's my race.
Yeah.
If I don't go with that, the race is up the road.
Most likely, if you don't make it here, and I'm chasing. I'm the one actually chasing you right now.
Yep. Dang.
Mike's bikes guy goes through. Bobby goes through. I mean, so everyone's kind of knowing, like, dude, this is probably it. And if that Squadra guy on your screen had been in with Lance and the low guy, maybe they would have worked a little better and created a gap quicker. Because it's so crazy right now how blown apart it is, where there's 3 the group, or that, because that guy was sitting on your wheel.
Yeah, he was just sitting back there, not doing anything.
Well, that's a smart move, dude. He was sitting on your wheel, seeing if you would pull them back, and then he would jump. Now, this is what's so crazy. That's the break on your screen. That's the break.
Yep.
But it doesn't stick yet, right? All those guys are the ones that are in the break. But I'm with Bobby. Bobby's railing it, and I'm hoping that someone's going to close this down. And so it's so crazy because you guys literally get caught, but then the same exact guys attack again. That's so weird to have the break caught and then the break go again, and it's the same makeup. Like, no one else was able to swap spots, which clearly means that you guys were the strongest. You know what I mean? For you being able to just push it so hard. Here I am again on the front, and I'm trying to like pull through as to not let it completely shut down, because I'm hoping other guys are gonna go and attack, and they do. That Cliff Bar guy, I think, burned a major match to close that down.
Yeah, he did.
Because after that, he never really was the same. Like, you could really see he was burnt. And so we are like, dude, we're right there. Everyone in the group, I think, is thinking that's the move. One, people know you're strong.
Yeah.
They know James is strong. They know Lance is strong.
Yep.
So they're like, okay, that's it. I got to go with it. I got to go with it. I got to go with it. Everyone goes out of their skin to make it to you, and then this is Lance hits it again. And you're in position, right? I'm not in position. Like if I was in position, maybe it would be a different story, but that's it. That's the move right there.
Well, see, this is the problem. You guys are chasing so hard, and right as you guys latch on, we're established, so, one of us is taking a hard pull, the rest of us get to kind of like sit in. And we hit that hill, and then Lance goes, and you guys had just caught on. Well, you're so spent to do another acceleration like that. It's like...
Well, and the Mike Spikes guy gets on the front to try to like do something to try to mitigate that, but now Squadra is slowing down the front. The thing is, though, that if I had tried to go there, if I had tried to jump that gap and go, most likely I probably would have ended up bringing one other guy with me, which then means other guys would have chased. Like, probably what would have happened, I could have made it onto you guys. I would have brought everyone, and the very next lap, you guys would have attacked again. You know what I mean?
Most likely.
Most likely. So it's like, just in that situation, I don't think there's any scenario where I'm making that break. I don't know, man. I don't think it's gonna happen. So then you guys start working well together?
A little bit.
Because on my screen, Squadra's on the front, pedaling hard enough to prevent people from wanting to start attacking. But everyone starts to know, like, dang it, dude, this is it. I know Bobby's pissed. Bobby's bummed.
I saw him in the truck after the race. He looked pretty bummed.
Cliff Bar guy goes here. Mike Spikes guy goes on my screen. You guys pretty much start working. You skip a pull like a punk. Right or no? You tried to. You tried to let that low guy go. He said he wasn't having it.
Yep.
And so back to my screen. Cliff Bar guy jamming. Squadra's just sitting on wheels, right? Like, because he doesn't want another guy to go up the road. But if you're gonna pull him all the way up, like, sure. And so back in the pack, like, even though the break has been established, usually when the break is established, the group just shuts down. It's like, okay, we're done. We're gonna cruise. But that didn't happen. It was just basically continual non-stop attacks, even in the pack. So now when you're up here in the break, are you thinking, like, how do I manage my energy to sustain this break for the rest? Because we have 25 minutes left in the race.
Yeah, I mean, at this point, it's just take short pulls. Don't sit up there forever. I mean, there's 4 other guys for a reason. And here's when I learned that I should not take a pull into the hill, because I figured out when we hit this hill, we still hit it at like 500 plus watts, whether you're in the draft or not. So this one early on, I was like, nope, no longer am I taking a pull into that hill. So the rest of the race, I really tried not to do that. Because, I mean, we get up to the top, and I'm just spent again after that effort, and I let that low guy jump in because I don't feel like doing it.
So now what's kind of the etiquette when you're in the group like that and you start to skip pools?
Well, I know I looked at Lance. Lance, at one point, he tells us, dude, we got to work together. And I looked at him and I said, dude, I just need a second. You got to give me a second. So I straight up told him, I need to take a breather. I'm dying right now. So I think if you're honest with it, I mean, because we're just getting it started. You can see Lance is he's like, what's going on? Why are we not working together? I mean, that squadron guy just totally dipped out. And then I came around him, and it was, we were tired, man. Like you said, we'd been attacking for 3 laps straight and finally got to work.
So how difficult is that when you're on the limit and then you make the break and then you have to stay basically right at threshold, like, you know, and make that sustained effort after you have blown your legs out?
What's it like?
Yeah.
It just sucks. It all depends on your mental strength, you know. I mean, you can tell there's a difference. I mean, if if you're a guy that can do like VO2 max intervals by yourself in the heat and smash through them and get them done, like you're going to be mentally strong in that situation. You know, if you're out doing workouts and you can't finish workouts because mentally you're just like, I can't do this, I'm too exhausted. Well, when you get into that situation in a race, you're going to do the same thing. Mentally, I'm too exhausted. So it's a mental battle. I knew I had the fitness, but mentally, I even told my coach after, mentally, I was completely willing to suffer this race for some reason. Like it was on. I didn't care how much it hurt.
Well, isn't that, like, that's a huge part of it, right? And I often will try to tell myself, like, pedal till I puke to make that, like, spectrum of what I'm willing to do, right? Because it's gonna hurt. It hurts all the time. Honestly, if we rode around and kind of just like played and like had a few little attacks, you would still say, man, that hurt.
Yeah.
But this is like a whole nother level of pain, because it was just, it's one of those where you're like, your eyes are wide open and you're like, how am I doing this? How is everyone else doing this? You know, because you just feel like there's just no way that any human could be this strong.
Yeah.
And yet everyone's doing what you're doing, and then some people are going faster than you. You're just like, oh my goodness. But if you come into it with a mindset of like, look, I'm gonna go as hard as I can, and we're gonna see what happens. A lot of times that kind of broadens that spectrum of pain and helps you out. So, what are we at? Lap 10 to go.
Yeah, I mean, I came in with, I was actually pretty motivated. I had a lot of confidence in my legs and how I would do. I mean, I put in a solid month of good high-intensity work, so this course was going to suit me perfectly, because it is technical and it is hard, but there's nowhere for anyone else to, like, hide. So that favors me. I like to just go hard all the time. Plus, it's like one of my favorite races. I don't know if it's one of your favorite races, but it's totally definitely one of mine. So I think because of that, it adds a little fun factor to it, and it makes willingness to suffer so much more, and I don't know, easier, I guess.
Well, I think that if you're a bike racer, that you like this course, right? Because this feels racy. There are some road races where it doesn't really feel racy. Some crits where it's just kind of gets a little boring. It's just we're out here stomping on pedals, and that's really the only metric. But this has so many other metrics to it that, you know, create splits, create divides between everyone, and it is it's a cool course. But again, you have nowhere to hide, and especially with a small group, when you only have 16 guys and 16 of them are strong as shit. You know, it's really, really difficult. It's super easy for you to get in trouble and to get popped, even when you're feeling great. Like you risked a lot by going off the front. If they had caught you and it was maybe a little more intense, or a couple guys got away, like you could have ruined your race. You felt great, you felt amazing, but by
I could have missed it.
Doing like an ill-placed effort, you know what I mean, followed up by a hard counter, you could see yourself go from like, man, I'm gonna win, oh, I'm off the back. You know, it's hard. Now, on my screen, there was a point at the race where I think Bobby and one other guy got up the road and like formed a chase group. But I think a squadra guy was with him, and he wasn't motivated to chase. It was just Bobby motivated to chase. And so there was a chase group in between you guys and us at one point, and I was thinking, like, that's a bummer that I missed that as well. But we ended up reabsorbing him. And yeah, there was just so many guys like trying to get away from this group, because you felt like the race was so hard that at any point people are going to give up. And Squadra just wasn't having it, dude. They were like, they were there to race. They were there to cover everything and try to get guys in the break and try to get guys off the group. I mean, they wanted to win everything. Now, if you have a team of 6 or more, like you, dude, in Snelling, you had a team of 11. Yeah. Hashtag not legal. So what?
Jose Vita did the rest of the season.
Everyone else doing illegal shit, you're gonna do it? So look, you guys had 11 dudes in Snelling. I know it's a little bit different because Rally was there, but when you have the dominant team does that add an extra level of pressure that you have to perform well?
No, not when Mike's bikes brought freaking 8 guys and H24 brought. The big thing was like we got to get a guy on the break, and we barely missed out on it that day, which is frustrating. So then we picked up Chase, and obviously when you got 3 rally guys in the break, you're not bringing them back. Granted, they had some other guys that were in the break with him, but even those 2 guys in the break with him said that they barely survived, and they actually all ended up getting flicked with 10 miles to go, and they all rode in solo, and they just came in trickling in as a shattered breakaway because 3 rally guys just destroyed it. That was a hard race.
Yeah, I mean that was like a legit, almost like a stage of the Tour of California, dude. Like how much power Rally had. So I'm on my camera. You guys are just kind of pacing good, and no real action happens with you guys for a while, as that dude scratches his butt. In the back, I am trying to go with moves from the group because it seems like that's going to happen. Like every single lap, there's an attack. And so for maybe 3 or 4 laps in a row, I like go with the move, but I'm a little bit off of the move, so then I have to bring it back. And man, it was difficult. But towards the end of the race, I kind of started to feel better, like after that breakaway went, and that's what makes me think like I wonder what would happen if I had been able to get a proper warm-up in. Instead of just my warm-up being 15 seconds in, I'm hitting 1,000 watts. Because as the race progressed, I sort of felt better. I felt my legs felt better, my lungs felt better. I don't know if that happens to you, but I mean, you obviously made the break, so whatever. That guy Lance, what? Was he accelerating hard out of the turns, or was he super smooth?
No, he was pretty smooth. It's different. You understand? I don't even know how to explain it. When you get with guys who are really good and you get in a break with them, they understand that we have to keep the pace high, but if we keep it smooth, then everyone else will be able to keep it high as well. So even though he can drop watt bombs all day long, but he realizes when he's accelerating right now, and I'm actually losing watts when he accelerates. I did a little bit out of the corner, but that's the cool thing with him is he did do it good accelerations. Mm-hmm. There's another guy in our break that would like to just smash when it was his turn. It was like he would get overexcited and just kind of start stomping on the pedals, and he'd open up a gap, and then all of us would have to be forced to get out of the saddle and sprint and chase. And it's like, dude, you're killing the mojo here. You're killing the rotation, and you're making us burn matches when we don't need to burn matches. And so it's always fun, especially on a technical course. You need guys in the break that can ride smooth.
So here's on my screen, again, just every time up that little hill. And I think that's one big reason why we weren't making any time on you, is we were doing the surge slow, surge slow, surge slow, and you guys were just steady. So we would surge super hard, everyone would get blown. Yeah,
did you see on our screen the low guy went through that corner and then got out of the saddle and sprinted, and we almost nailed that dog.
Oh man.
But he got out of the saddle and sprinted, and he made the rest of us get out of the saddle and sprint. And it's like, we don't need to do that. There's nothing to be gained from that. I mean, we still have another 15 minutes,
Yeah, but so, okay, if you're a guy who has sprints are kind of his thing, your accelerations hurt you. You know what I mean? So if they just went super steady the whole time, you have a much better chance at winning this race. So if, I'm in the breakaway with you, and I know the breakaway is going to succeed, throwing those little accelerations out of the turn to hurt you, I don't know, man. That's I try to do that to sprinters. For me, my max power isn't that high, but the cool thing is I can hit that almost anytime I need to. So it's not too crazy for me. The accelerations hurt. I think it also makes me stronger. It's like, whereas sprinters, they like that one snap, wind up, go, give it 1,500 watts. Well, if we can keep making them sprint out of corners, then they lose their sprint. Yeah, kind of soften up their legs. But I mean, that is like a tactic, right? To in the break to start mess. But as soon as you start messing with someone, then you might discourage other people from pulling. You know, and even though you guys have a good gap, man, that gap could come down quickly if you guys stopped working together. You know, and if Squadra wanted to, they could just stop working altogether and say, okay, you guys take it in the rest of the way, because we have teammates in the group, in the peloton, that are going to, you know, be fresh, because they haven't had to do anything, even though they really weren't. That is a card they could play. I mean, it's always awesome to have teammates. Now, the little dip, that little like gutter dip, were you clipping any pedals, doing any pedal strikes? What was like your position when you came into that turn? Would you stand up or would you roll through it? Like, what was your...
I took it as inside as I could. I figured that out. You go outside and you dove super deep to the inside and try to almost like clip the curve on the inside. And I found that was easiest to come out of that corner with a lot of speed still. It took me a while. It took me probably a good 20 minutes to figure out how to take that corner.
Dude, one of the first years I came to this course, I was watching like a Masters race, and a guy came to that turn, like
all kinds of guys do that.
Clip his pedal, and then he like endoed, dude, and like landed his neck right on the curb. It was one of the worst wrecks I've ever seen. He got up, he was fine, but it was like, dude, he could have died. Like, it was so it was not good. So every time I come through this turn, that's like running through my mind, is this dude like pile driving his head into the curb. And so, you know, now are you at all getting worried about Squadra to start messing with you because they have two guys in the break?
So they're the way they looked the entire race was it was really weird. Like, one lap, one guy would almost get dropped. Like right here, the guy in blue, I can't remember what his name is, James maybe, but he looked like he was struggling a little bit. And then the next lap, the other dude looked like he would be getting dropped, like he'd start struggling. But see, this is what I don't get. He looked like he was about to get dropped and struggled, till all of a sudden he would take this massive pull in the front. So it's just, I don't know. I'm still confused on how they rode. They never talked to each other, never tried to figure out a game plan together in the break. It was almost like they were just riding for themselves in the break. But they were on the same team, and I don't know, it was super weird. So I didn't know what to do about it. But I've been in situations with other teams where they have, you know, multiple guys on the break, and you can kind of, you know, they know what they're doing, and so I gave them a little more credit than what I probably should have, and I marked them more than I should have marked the other people, and it ends up costing me in the end.
Yeah, they since they have two guys in the break, I mean, again, they have options, but then also you have Lance hit it, which is like,
I should have just marked him.
Well, I mean, whatever, it doesn't matter what you do. Like, he's so strong that most likely your plan's going out the window. You know, yeah. Right?
I should have positioned myself to where I always took a pull after him. Always been on his wheel. That would have left me the most fresh to follow him if he attacked, because he usually doesn't attack right when he ends a pull.
Yeah, that's a good point, man. To know who you're on. Like, sometimes as a bigger guy, it sucks when you're in the rotation with the smallest guy in the group. You know, he's weighs 10 pounds, and you're like, dude, no fair. You know, I'm on this guy's wheel. He's too small.
Tony's life.
Yeah, so, but you're trying to find the right wheel to be on, a guy that's not surging out of every turn. Now, on my screen, I've been trying to close these little gaps down over and over and over again. I think 2 went off, and then I think the next lap another 2 go off. But it's like my legs are a little too battered to close
5 to go.
To close the gap down right away, and so like I end up letting the gap open up a little bit, and then kind of have to use more of like the diesel motor to bring it back, which then is a bummer because you bring everyone with you, right? So burning a match, like, see those 2 guys go on my screen, dude, they railed it, and setting that up, right? They set that up so good because they came from the outside. They were already going like 2 miles an hour faster than everyone, and then hit the hill. So I'm putting out 1,000 watts right now, I think right there I remember like I went so deep. Like I was pulling on the bars so hard, like really trying to make that move because I thought for sure that was going to be the second move. Doesn't happen. So like how frustrating is that when you are like, this is going to be the move, and then you go all in and it's not the move? Like how do you like regroup after that?
Well, my first question is like how is that not the move?
Yeah.
You know, it's, I don't know, man. It's super, it's hard because it's like, I felt so good. Thought that was the move, and it's not the move. And it's like, well, if that's not the move, what is going to be the move?
Well, so right there when I chased those guys, I got up to them. We had a good gap, and so I kept going. On your screen, Lance hit it, throws a little, what he called was a dummy attack.
Yeah, with 4 to go.
Just to see what you
well,
guys
obviously, he went over the top and looked back.
Yeah.
If you're all in, you don't look back. You just smash. Yeah, he went over the top he's testing the waters. I mean, it was a good one by him. I remember seeing 4 to go and him doing that, and I'm like, dude, we're so far out. You still got a while.
Yeah, but I mean, him being so strong, like,
yeah,
if you guys were weak, then he would have
dropped this.
He probably could have soloed, right? Like if he wanted to just get it. Back to my screen. This is now the 3rd lap in a row where I'm on this hill chasing 2 freaking guys off the front. So like, I felt like towards the end of the race, dude, I started to have legs, and I wish that I had not done that. I guess I don't know. I burned a lot of matches there in the last couple laps. I don't remember it being like that. I just remember thinking I have to get up to these guys. And again, maybe if I don't get up to those guys and I'm in the front, then it's like I'm blocking for them, you know? Like if you're hanging out on the front, you're able to go with moves. But if you don't go with the move, then you're in the way. Then you're possibly separating the break from the group, and you're the catalyst to why it worked. Even if you're not, that's not, because that would be like a tactic for a teammate. 3 laps to go. So it's going to be a tactic for a teammate to get on the front or near the front, let the teammates go up the road, and then kind of block. But so if like I'm up the front and I can't respond to a move, I'm basically doing the same tactic, but against myself. So, you know, it's kind of a hard, like, do you ride up front? Do you stay on the back? Do you know, what do you do? But I honestly couldn't believe how this group, the peloton in the back, stuck together for it being so surgy and so fast. I mean, even after the break established, it still never really got slow. Like there was a couple times, I was just about to say right now, but then I hit 700 and something watts. These guys drilling it. So,
did you guys get time gaps at all?
No, no one told us, but we could see.
Yeah. With
the loop around, you know what I mean?
You could see us on the other side of the course.
Yeah, and no one in the group was working
together. Like
probably in hindsight, I should have got like me, Bobby, that guy. Like we could have had 5 guys chasing, but then Squadra's just gonna sit on the back, and as soon as we get close to you, they're gonna start jumping across.
It still might have given you guys a chance though.
Yeah.
I mean, it would have sucked.
But I mean, it's what we did, right? We did the break established because we chased, and as soon as we got onto you guys, then you attacked. I attack here because I'm like, if I'm dying, everyone else should be dying.
Yeah.
And I'm
seems
like,
logical.
Yeah. And I mean, that's like the quote, right? Like, if everyone else is hurting, so are you. Or if you're hurting, so is everyone else. But everyone went with me. So we're going into the last lap?
2 to go.
2 to go. Now, why didn't you let Squadra cover this?
He was dying. Well, I mean, that's the problem. Like, man, I was so confused. But I mean, like, you look at those guys, and one dude looked like he's about to just drop out, and the next thing you know, he like comes out of nowhere with like a little surge of energy, and I don't know what happened there. I mean, they put in a good attack, for sure. Because
you were like, this is ruining your race. This is like a minute or so, and then so this guy comes, as to think you're probably not going to cover that now, so I need to cover it for my teammate. Because, dude, I'm telling you, these guys whistle tipped you, dude. And so he's going like, okay, we got to bridge this, and then he flicks to you. You shouldn't have gone, right? You shouldn't have gone, because as soon as you go, and you're like, ugh, okay, so you're gonna like catch up, and then the guy behind you jumps, and then you're thinking, well, I'll get on this other guy's wheel, but it's his teammate, so then he's gonna let that guy go. Like, why not right here do you just go all in? Or are you 191 beats per minute? Yeah, I guess you are all in. you are all in.
Well, last time around, I hit 700, 800 watts up that hill. Anything over 600 is pretty hard for me to do and sustain.
So right now, your watts are showing like I'm over it, and you and this other guy start talking.
Yeah.
Like, hey, cool, your teammate's now gonna get top 3. What do you want to do?
Well, yeah, I mean, I asked him to pull through, and he's like, no. I was like, come on, pull through. And he's like, no, the race is up the road. And then so my response was like, so you're just going to quit? Let me get 4th in? He goes, sure. And I was like, all right, I'll hold you to your word. So there are times... It's funny, though, because when he sprinted around me, I said, thanks. I yelled at him. I said, thanks for keeping your word. He kind of looked at me and just kept going.
So we're going to flick because your race is done.
He apologized afterwards for being a dick.
I know.
He was like, I'm sorry for being a dick. I didn't realize.
I heard it. So we're on the last lap for me. We're trying to sprint for minor places. And I don't know, I feel pretty good. Like I'm not dying to stay on the wheel, and I feel like I have got a match in me. Like I can attack. It's just sprinting isn't really my forte. But so we're coming in here, and I'm thinking like, man, I don't know, dude. There's 5 guys up the road, so what are we gonna do? Like, if I win this, I get 6th. How much of a bummer is that? Like, there's no way you're getting on the podium, right? Which is kind of a bummer. I come up the inside on the Squadra guy because I'm trying to make up positions before everyone starts lighting it up, because everyone lights it up on this last little straight. And I'm kind of trying to wait, and then Bobby goes to the right.
You should have followed his wheel.
Well, I was to the left of that Cliff Bar guy, right?
Yeah.
But what am I doing in the hoods? Like, my hands, everyone's in the drops, and I'm on the freaking hoods. Right here, I mean, dude, I don't know how many times I did, how much time I spent between 700 and 1,000 watts, but it was probably a lot. There's a lot of time in between that. I get pipped in the line, like, so frustrating. I'm screaming my head off, like, stupid! So bummed. But yeah, man, that was a difficult race. I think that this type of race, though, no matter how you finished, you're thinking like, dude, I'm pretty fit, right? Like,
no, we were definitely fit.
If you lasted in this race, like if you didn't get dropped, like I think you're gonna have to come away with like positive thoughts, even if you maybe raced the race a little bit weird or like, you know, Bobby probably should have done a little bit better placement-wise for how much energy and how much fitness he had, but just what it is. You're like, oh, well, I'll get him next time. But it's not one of those things where you're like so bummed about yourself because it was such a hard race. Now, so the thing is, there are sometimes deals. You'll make deals in the group where you'll say, hey, let's just ride in together. Let's not attack each other. I'll get 4th, you get 5th. Or you're like in a break and you're a weaker guy, like you might make a deal like, hey, don't attack me and I won't sprint. Like those are deals that you make in crits.
There's a local guy that did that.
Huh?
He made a deal. I think we're at Visalia or something. No, I can't remember where it was.
XMX.
Yeah,
Josh
at Hanford. Yeah. He said,
Josh Cox made a deal.
They're like, you gonna work? He's like, dude, I'm spent. Just let me sit on and trust me, I won't contest. And then he ended up sprinting and winning the race. And
the guy he made the deal with,
so
the guy he made a deal with, put his hands up like because they lapped the field, and so he was like, I'm gonna win the sprint right here, and he puts his hands up way before the finish and gets dipped because you made a deal. Like, and obviously it's those unspoken rules of cycling. Like,
Yeah.
You know, whatever, dude. It's just about character. If you're gonna make a deal with someone, what's your standpoint on holding your word versus not? I mean, it's not illegal to renege on deals, but also the other thing is being hypoxic. Dude, sometimes, like, if you asked me, hey, you know, do you want to live on Mars for 100 years after this race? I might be like, sure, whatever. You know, like, I wouldn't know what I'm really agreeing to. You know, but it is what it is. So Chaz, after this race, what did you do? You went hard, you went fast, you averaged 275, which is
normalized power was like 298.
Which your best ever hour power is around 300, so you're not far off like your best power, your best power would be probably a little bit more sustained than how surgy this was. I mean, that's huge. So what do you do after this? You eat a steak and bacon and eggs?
We went to Panera, which is it's a chain restaurant thing, and no, actually I went vegan there, dude. Well, no, I didn't go vegan. I went vegetarian. I had broccoli cheddar soup, and I had like a tomato mozzarella sandwich.
Nice.
Yeah.
The drive home. Hey, did you pass me? I
passed you, and I waved at you, and you were like watching YouTube on your phone.
I was, dude. I had Netflix up.
I was behind you for a while.
We were watching Parks and Recreation all the way home.
Oh, it's such a good show.
It's such a good show. So when you're going home, I don't know how you feel. Maybe because
I set it to 80 on cruise control and just go.
What are your feelings like? Do you ever get hit with like a wave of like happiness? I mean, they call it like a cyclist high or runner's high or whatever, but after races, dude, sometimes like maybe 2 or 3 hours after the race, I'm like giddy about the race and I want to talk about it. I'm like all happy about it.
Yeah.
Depending on obviously how you do, but does that happen to you, or you're just like, man, I should have done better?
This race was frustrating. I usually should have got top 3. So I mean so this one I talked to my wife about it till I was blue in the face, and she didn't want to hear it anymore, and about how frustrated I was with everything. But I did get to a point though where I was pretty excited with my fitness, super pumped. It showed. I mean, honestly, it was really good. You know, I was talking to the coach about it, and he was even like, "Dude, your power was pretty dang solid for that race." Both agreed I burned matches too early, so I used it as like a good training race and a good fitness test. Even though my goal was to win it, I mean, I knew it was something a little bit lower on the schedule. So
do you think, though, there is any way you could have beat Lance? Like, in dream scenario, how do you win this race?
I don't know. Yeah. I didn't know he was going to be there.
Uh-huh. If Lance wasn't there, I think you have a massive chance of winning this race.
Yeah, I mean, when I was looking at pre-reg, I was like, psh. All you
tell me pre-reg is 5 guys, and so I'm thinking like, oh sweet, dude, like I have a chance.
That's what I was saying too. 5 guys, it's like 5 or 4 squadro and 1 other dude. Dude, we got shot. I was gonna tell you before the race, dude, let's work together. And then, you know, someone said, oh yeah, you're here, and I saw a Velo, and I know it's a UCI team, and I was like, crap.
Yeah, with Lance there, you kind of have to be like, whatever, right? I mean, just do the best you can. Right?
Yeah, I mean,
like how do you beat someone that is, I wouldn't say unbeatable, but is someone that is on a whole nother caliber than you? How do you race that race? Do you just try to hope for a mistake, or I mean you did everything you could, but
I mean, hope he blows too many matches because he gets overconfident. I don't know. I mean, next time I should have marked him more and stuck on his wheel more at the end of that race. Now those gaps open up, and I might have had a chance at beating him in the sprint. But I don't know. He had some pretty good kick. And sprinting's my weakness. So
yeah,
we had some solid sprinters in the breakaway.
Dude, who's the big guy? Squadra.
Dave.
What's his name?
Dave. I can't remember what his last name is. He was in the field though.
Yeah.
He's definitely a sprinter for them.
Yeah, he's big.
Yeah.
Super strong. So playing a lot of have a lot of cards to play. So, What's your next race? What do you do from here?
I'm going to do CCCX this week. I'm going to do the 2-3s and the 1-2s. And then after that, I'm gearing up for 3 road races, back-to-back weekends in August, and hopefully do good at the Elite National Champ road race for our district at the end of August.
Awesome, man. Well, I appreciate you being here for 4 hours and recording this twice and trying to...
I think it was better the second time.
Yeah, no, it was good. It was always good. But I like watching the race for the first time and recording it because it's so like we thought the break went within the first 20 minutes.
I thought it did too.
But there was a 10-minute period of crazy, like, just the break had established at 20 minutes with no gap. If that makes any sense. You know what I mean?
We were off the front by like a second.
And
because the rest of the field was just scattered. And that's why I think the break went. Even when I look back at my power profiles and stuff, I was like, oh, that's when it went, because I was digging so deep. But yeah, it turns out it came at like the 30-minute mark, which realistically for any crit, that's usually when it happens. It's usually that 30-minute mark.
Yeah. All right, man. Well, I appreciate it. Watch the other race casts. I think we've done 2 or 3 with Chaz. We did the off the front hills with him, and there's some other ones that he's been in. So check him out. And as always, guys, Vegan Cyclist. You.